Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I have a couple of headlines here, just bringing some more updates on the things that are taking place in this world as they pertain to prophecy. So starting off, dealing with which I covered this yesterday, but some updates on it. Now, yesterday, dealing with the Houthis declaring basically that they were going to close the Bab el Mandeb Strait, which Saudi Arabia was using to redirect their oil from going through the Strait of Hormuz, but instead to exit through the Red Sea. And initially, the oil prices hadn't really gone up yet, but what did you expect would happen if they closed literally the only other port or area where Saudi Arabia, which was rerouting through there, was providing some sort of like relief during this global energy crisis. But now they said, yeah, that's a dub. And at this point, they actually started to, let me see if it mentions it in here. Yeah, it says it forced 2 Saudi oil tankers to turn around. So you know they're not playing. It says 2 Saudi crude-laden tankers make U-turn in Red Sea amid Houthi blockade, oil surges. So let's go through the summary here. It says shipping disruption, Houthi threats forced 2 Saudi oil tankers to turn around in the Red Sea as Hormuz traffic slowed sharply after more tanker attacks. Escalation in the Gulf, Iran claims strikes on infrastructure in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan, while Kuwait reported a second day of attacks on power and desalination plants. That's a very big deal. Okay, that's a very big deal because remember, the Iranians did say that if their infrastructure gets attacked, they will attack back on the infrastructure in the nearby or neighboring regions. Trump vows more to come. The U.S. launched fresh strikes on Iranian targets. Trump vowed retaliation, and Reuters reported a proposed 10-day ceasefire, which at this point, you should know how the game goes, right? Ceasefire or not, peace deal or not, memorandum of understanding or not, nothing will stop the prophecies the Lord has said to happen. When they calm down, it's because the Lord made them do it. When they return to fire, it's because the Lord made him do it. And it's all to further along prophecy. And it's going to end with a full escalation, more nations being drawn in, Russia, Turkey, China, all these nations being drawn in, and this escalating into a full-blown world war. That is the destination, okay, of this conflict. So it says here, oil surges, crude prices hit multi-week highs amid shipping disruptions, and warnings oil could reach $120 if fighting continues. Pentagon scrutiny, but at this point, a lot of people have heard this over and over and over again. The Iran war fatigue has settled in. So people are just kind of like, okay, this is kind of like what they were doing before. Yeah, let's just see how it goes. And their minds are not as attentively on it as the first time around. That's how they desensitize the minds of the people. Okay, I always use this example, but it's a good example to show you how it works. When you look at what happened with like Trayvon Martin versus what happens on a regular today, it's not as big of a deal because you hear it over and over and over again, right? So now it's different than the first time. Like the first time you taste food that's really, really good, you'll always remember that. Versus, maybe 2 years later after you've already had it, multiple times already. Still might taste good, but it won't be that first. So these people are like, okay, we've kind of seen how it goes. We know what they're doing. We'll just see what happens. But when it escalates again past the first time around, that's going to be a new level, right? One that actually starts to affect them physically. Now, people are already being affected as it is right now by things, right? Multiple factors. As the statement is, or the the saying poly crisis, people are already being hit by that. And then there's still more to come. Pentagon scrutiny. The New York Times reported the Pentagon withheld information about dozens of U.S. troops injured in Iranian attacks before the deadly Jordan missile strike. So, at least on that front, this is what's going on. You know, the new sort of major thing to look at is how much oil is going to surge with the prolonged closure of the traffic through the Red Sea by the Houthi blockade. Okay. Next year coming more, you know, within, you have Border Czar warns New York City that ICE surge is coming, enforcement expanding. Basically, they're saying that they coming to NYC. Now, not too long ago, you know, because there've already been a number of shootings, right, with like ICE agents actually shooting people. And not too long ago, I think, you know, there was a recent one. I forget exactly where, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in New York because of this great opposition that they have, which this article covers a bit of. So federal border czar Tom Homan has announced that an unprecedented surge of immigration and customs enforcement agents, ICE, is coming to New York City in response to the city's sanctuary policies. You see that? Unprecedented. That's a key word right there. Surge, another key word. So they basically going to bring in them troops like a multitude. Homan told Fox News on Sunday, it's coming, citing the Trump administration's refusal to be hampered by Mayor Zoran Mamdani's vow to champion the city's sanctuary status and to continue resisting federal immigration enforcement. Homan refused to discuss specifics as to where and when enforcement actions would occur, so as to avoid tipping off the various leftist groups who have organized to oppose ICE actions. And that's going to be pretty interesting, right? That's going to be pretty interesting to see like how that actually plays out. You know, and to what point or what level that escalation grows to. Homan told Fox News that there needs to be a surge and added, but I'm not going to show our hand because there are well-funded groups who will try to interfere. We're not going to give them any upside on this. And on the flip side, you got Mamdani, as it says, he told the Times, what we are unwilling to do is participate in civil immigration enforcement with a federal government that has said openly it wants to deport a vast majority of people for crimes that we will never even know. So you have this tension building up, this back and forth here. Jumping down a bit, it says, Homan has also argued that blocking ICE access to municipal jails removes operational efficiencies, forcing federal teams out onto the street to conduct widespread community arrests. So get ready to see some of those videos that you used to see on social media with ICE. A lot of them coming out of NYC, depending on how this whole thing goes. Okay, next we have concerning what I was mentioning before, that poly crisis. Now, this is a very interesting article. I'll read just a little bit of it, but look at this jump, right? It says a 28-item grocery order, and I'm sure we've all experienced this, right? Not these exact numbers, but the things that groceries or shopping that cost a lot less a couple years ago are now a lot higher. It says here, a 28-item grocery order from Target that cost $64.50 in 2020 now costs $158.30. Lord. Damn. It says the cost of living has become absolutely suffocating for millions of Americans. For years, the bureaucrats in Washington have been feeding us numbers that show that, that the rate of inflation is low, but it is obvious to everyone that what they are telling us is simply not true. Many of the items that I regularly purchase at the grocery store have more than doubled in price over the past decade. Some have more than tripled in price. When I get to the register, that's crazy. When I get to the register to check out, I feel like asking the cashier which organ I should donate to pay for my groceries. And it sounds like a joke, but you might end up eventually having to consider that. We have reached a stage where grocery prices are causing extreme financial stress for families all over America. So you can see how it's not just one thing. Your energy is going up, groceries, inflation, hyperinflation. I mean, crime rates, everything is just bad. These are all signals to you that this is a collapsing empire. It's going down. One man recently caused quite a stir on social media when he revealed that a grocery order from Target that cost $64.50 in 2020 is now $158.30 in 2026. This is what people are dealing with. This is what we're all dealing with. They distract you with a lot of different things, but a lot of this is a very real thing. And it's not like people's wages are going up. It's not like there's certain measures that are, effective measures that are put in place for this. So people are going to get more and more desperate. And that's why in 2nd Ezra 15, it says they're going to do the things they're going to do for lack of bread and for great tribulation. Those two together equal desperation. Okay. It says here, this is the last one I have here. Blackstone just made a physical AI bet on actuator maker powering humanoid robots. In here, they're talking about basically like the advancement of physical AI, they call it, which is like what you see in your movies like Subservience and I, Robot, and those movies where robots are more sophisticated, they're faster, they're stronger, they move more fluid, human-like, and their intelligence is powered by artificial intelligence. So you can imagine how dangerous ChatGPT can be if it could physically move and interact with the world like you can. Blackstone, the world's largest alternative asset manager, is making a big investment in Futronic, a 33-year-old automotive supplier whose motion control technology has been adapted for industrial and humanoid robots, according to Reuters. The deal values the South Korean firm at about 1 trillion won, which is $676 million. The deal comes just ahead of the expected rise of physical AI. You hear that? The expected rise of physical AI. So just like the image you're seeing on the screen right there, where it's like, most of it looks like AI generated pictures. It looks like sci-fi. That's about to be reality very soon. In fact, it already is. But as we're reading here, it says, with forecasts from top desks indicating that global robot deliveries could begin ramping up later this year before accelerating more materially in 2027. So what are they telling you? They're telling you that if deliveries, when you order food, by the time they deliver it to you, that means the food is ready, right? So if global robot deliveries could begin ramping up later this year, what does that tell you? That tells you that they're not now like learning how to build this or put this together. That part is done. It's now in a state where they can start to deliver them. And the more that they're used, the more data they gather, the more they can improve them. Just like when the automobile first came out. Cars today look nothing like when they first came out. Why? Because as the more and more they were used, the more people improved on them. So these are just going to continue to improve and improve and improve, and then they're going to have more and more use cases for them. Imagine new task force that are now physical AI powered. You're not sending in men, you're sending in robots, humanoid robots to round people up, to go in and handle certain situations that may be considered dangerous. This is the dystopic, sci-fi-ish reality that is right here. It's not awaiting us. It's right here. Okay. Now I want to get one precept real quick. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 9 and verse 23. And the reason I'm getting this is because a lot of people, one, don't pay attention to these signs and these warnings and care a lot more about the tangible, meta-realistic things of this world. But the scripture tells you that if there's anything to glory in, let it be that you know and understand the Lord. Because with that comes all the benefits of the Lord, the protection, safety, the knowledge, the guidance, all of those things. So rather than prioritizing monetary gain in this world or the wisdom of this world or the vainglory of this world, your number one priority and your goal should be to fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and to serve him. And that comes with everything else that people in this world try to obtain. And then some. Jeremiah 9:23, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. And ultimately, why? Because those all come to an end. The wise man can glory into his wisdom. What happens if he goes brain dead? Right? Or he gets into a car accident and then he loses his memory. Now all that wisdom is gone, right? Doctor Strange. When you watch the first movie, super great surgeon. I mean, amazing. Like he was just so cocky. Then he got into an accident. His hands don't work anymore. Now what? Because it doesn't matter how great he was at his job. If he can't do the job anymore, who's going to pay him? And why are they going to pay him? Now that fancy lifestyle is gone. See, these are all things that are vain. The riches that you have, you can lose those. How many people have you seen or heard about that were super rich and then they're now bankrupt, they're broke, and they're on the street somewhere? So don't glory in those things because they're vain. But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me. Anybody, if they study hard and they take the time, they can gain wisdom, right, of this world. They can eventually make money. But not everybody is able to understand and know the Lord, because the wisdom of this world doesn't choose who to gain it. If you go to the right schools, you pay the right amount of money, you'll learn whatever it is you're trying to learn. Right? But the Most High chooses who he allows to understand and to know him. And in order for you to even do that, he has to open up your mind to do so. That is a privilege that is only given to a few. That's why you glory in that. Not to become proud or boastful, but to be, joyous in that. It says, and knoweth me that I am the Lord Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. So if the Lord is in control of all these things and you know him, it's like having the greatest connect there is. You want to talk about networking. Having the connections to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the best network you can have. Okay? And this is very, very important, but the importance of this will be highlighted when the merits or the benefits of this are shown in those that actually glory in knowing the Lord, that chose the fear of the Lord. That's when everybody's going to see why it is that they should have done it, but it's going to be too late. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Until next time.